Put that on there. Hey, good morning. Tom here, FlipAnything USA. I don't have a very good place for this camera, so I guess I'll just hold it by hand. So I'm on vacation here. I'm back in California. Got some ill friends here. That's why I've been here twice, and I've been actually, this is my third time in about 3 weeks. But taking the family with me a week each time. I got my daughter back from Prague now, so it's kind of nice. Got her with me, and all my kids. Anyways, so I was thinking about things this morning, making my list, and and I just punched in the title of this thing, and I think my point was first I was thinking about the masses are the asses, which is a saying that goes in sales, meaning it's kind of the 80-20 rule, that pretty much 80% of the public out there is kind of lazy, or doesn't really try too hard. Let me put it that way. And it's not really nice, I guess, to say to refer to them as the asses, but it's true. There's kind of like this 80-20 rule. 20% of the population, kind of makes 80% of the things happen, and the other 80% just go along and don't do much. And but actually, I think my experience is that you've got this 80-20 rule, but then you've got another 80-20 rule within the 20. So you've got 20% of people that do a lot more, but only 20% of that 20% really take it up a notch and really achieve. And I like to think I'm in that group, and so I always strive to be. And so I'm always working hard, and I'm always trying to make good decisions, and I think everybody should. And I know sometimes people just need a little bit of direction, and so God dang, I'm not even sure how harsh that is. So I was thinking about, like, I've been up since 4 a.m. That's kind of normal. I wake up early, and I've always been the first one up as a kid, and my whole life I'm always the first one up in the house, ever since I was a little kid. And but my mind's going, and I'm thinking about what can I do, how can I make some money, what can I invent next, because I'm a little bit of an inventor, or what can I do to make things better within the situation that I got, whether it could be real estate, it could be relationship, it could be all kinds of things. Or usually it's my kids. Once you have kids, and you're always trying to do the best you can to make things better, and to be a better dad, be a better be a better parent. And so that's always a challenge. That I don't know if you can ever win, but you can always try. So I was thinking about the best things, what would be my rules. I'm going to make rules for success and for prosperity, I think. But I would say for me, getting up early is a good start. I was looking for a 4-wheel drive tractor. It's hard to find a used 4-wheel drive tractor. This is a long time ago. And so you go in the ads. I mean, if one ever popped up, I mean, they were just gone, just as quick as they came up. So I was watching the ads like a hawk. I had first one to get the paper. Then when they started releasing the ads, the articles online, and then I found out, I got a little secret. I found out that the night before they actually published the ads, the classified ads for this newspaper. They actually published them at 7:30 p.m. the night before. So in other words, they had all that stuff done, and the late breaking stories that might go in the paper would come in a little later. But the classifieds, they closed those early afternoon, and they had them published at 7:30 at night. So I get on there, and every night, boom, I'd have that thing opened up, and I'd be looking for that four-wheel drive tractor. And this is probably 25 years ago, and I've had a couple of them since. But I actually sold the one that I'm about to tell you about. So anyways, all of a sudden, boom, there it is, Massey Ferguson MF 260 or something, red, beautiful looking little tractor, four-wheel drive, just what I needed for my little property at home. And immediately, so it pops up 7:30 p.m. I've got it scooped on everybody else that's looking at the paper or waiting for it in the morning. And I'm calling, and it's a business, and they're closed because they closed at 5. So I'm calling, and I listen to that message, and then I realize, okay, I know what company this is. So then I looked them up, got their address, and I started calling at 5 a.m. I'm always up early anyhow, so I'm calling at 5 a.m. And finally, I get like the guy that opened the place. He says the owner's not in, and I said, well, hey, I want to come over and look at that tractor? And he said, well, yeah, sure, come on over. And so I said, look, I'm going to buy it. I want it. So please leave a message for the owner that I'm going to buy that tractor. I'm up for it. And so I immediately run over there, and while I'm standing there looking at this tractor, the newspapers start delivering. And man, I can hear the phone ringing and ringing and ringing off the wall in the office. And then finally the owner calls in, and he says, he goes, well, who's the first one here? And the guy said, hey, Tom was the first guy here. He was here this morning, and he left messages all night. So that kind of goes to the, you got to want it, and I talk about that, but getting up early, trying harder than everybody else. Some people, and I admire the power for people just to go, don't worry about it, and they don't worry about things. I like to win, and I like, I don't like to worry, but anyways, but the guys that would blow that off, they didn't get the tractor, I did. And it was a great deal, and it was worth, of course, thousands more than I paid for it. That's why I knew it was such a good deal. Plus, it's just so hard to get. I would just say make a list is super important every morning. Getting up early, always being there first. We talk about that. Trying to think of other examples of being there early, which is really pretty much every deal I got, to be honest. I tell you that all the time. As soon as I learn of something, I'm on it. And that's how I get it. And this, like I said, this, I've had a lot of success in business too. So this isn't just about real estate. I'm talking about, taking action, and seizing an opportunity. And the only way you can seize an opportunity is to be smart enough to know an opportunity when you see one. So, even if it's not real estate, like I say, it could be things of value, or if you're in a position in business, there may be an opportunity open, but make your list and evaluate and think about it. And another thing that's been very helpful for me is cutting my overhead. Ever since I was young, I didn't live in the most, in fact, I tried to live in the cheapest place I could possibly live. And even today, once in a while, I need to go through my credit card statements, and my bookkeeper pays all that stuff, and I just sign the checks. But every once in a while, I got to go back through there, and I'll find stuff. I got apps that I've downloaded that I've never used that I'm paying for, and they're kind of a pain in the ass to undo because I haven't been able to undo some of them. I used to listen to books on tape. I think I pay Audible, and I've hardly used the service, but so going through your credit card statements, making sure you're not paying for things that you don't use anymore or don't need anymore, making sure your interest rates on whatever you do have. I got a house. All right, so we got disconnected there. I don't know what that looked like on the screen, but like I say, watching your overhead, looking at your bills. Also, I tend to pick up the tab most of the time, or and I've kind of got to, it can almost be annoying to people when you do pick up the tab all the time. So I try to watch that, and it doesn't, for a while there, I think I had about a $2,500 a month bar tab, and it wasn't that I drank so much alcohol, but I usually just picked up the tab, so I curtailed that. I thought, that's too much. That's $30,000 a year, and I kind of looked like a boozer on my credit card, but it wouldn't be true. So you'd be surprised. You make your list in the morning and just give yourself a topic for self-examination and self-betterment, and you'd be surprised what you come up with. Like I say, you concentrate on self-betterment and just trying in goals and things you want to achieve, and you'll find out that there's a lot of things you can do to improve your situation, it's easy the more money you got to get lazy, and but it's funny because I just think about things when I have been a little bit wasteful, and probably then when money gets tight, I look back and I'm like, dang. I go through and I analyze, and I get rid of a lot of overhead that I've accumulated that I probably don't need or shouldn't have, and then I think, man, that's a lot of money. I could have used that for this or that. It's even like that water bill. If you look at my video, I was paying the water on a laundromat next door to one of my commercial buildings for 2 years. It cost me $45,000. I did get $35,000 of it back so far from the water company. And now I got to go back and fight them for the other 10, because allegedly, or they say they pick up they collect money for other agencies besides their own, and so I got to go fight and go get that money back too. But the other thing is role modeling. If you see someone that's doing what you want to do, like probably me in this case, and in the real estate aspect anyways, but it could be anybody that you see every day, or that a family. It could be your dad, it could be your uncle. It could be somebody that is doing things right in a way that you appreciate, and but I'm a big, I used to, there's a guy, I won't say his whole name, but his name was Keith. He was a young guy, and he'd put me to work. He'd give me, it was like 30 years ago, maybe more than 30 years ago, and a lot more actually, 35, 40 years ago. But he'd put me to work, kind of fixing up his home and kind of remodeling parts of his house, and I was a finished carpenter, and but he'd pay me real well, and but when I had nothing to do, I'd call him up and say, hey, what do you got, Keith? And I'd start working on his place. And then when I'd get a more profitable job to get going, I'd wrap it up with what I'm doing on his deal. And then I'd continue to make more money doing whatever I was doing as a subcontractor. And the other thing I'd say is that you kind of compete with yourself, because you can always compete with yourself. In other words, whatever you're doing well or whatever you're doing right, if you can quantify that somehow, in me, I quantify profits and numbers, and how much money I make on a deal versus how much time I spent on that deal. I weigh commercial property against residential property, and commercial usually wins. For flipping property quickly, residential sometimes wins, but I'm always kind of quantifying the trouble. Like one of the reasons I don't own apartment buildings anymore is that they're a little more work than they're worth. There's people have problems, they get behind in their rents, they destroy carpet, kids vandalize properties. I don't know if I told this story, but one time I had laundromats. You get actually pretty decent revenue out of a laundromat within your commercial when you have apartment buildings. In fact, I figured I was getting $25 per tenant per month out of my coin wash. I had quarter, they pay 75 cents or $1.50, whatever it was, in quarters. In fact, I know that 1 pound of quarters is $22.50. If If you ever want to know, weigh a pound of quarters, that's what it's worth. I think $22.50, because I had so many quarters I had to weigh them to just guesstimate the values, and it was very accurate. But what I was getting at is I had I'm kind of drifting off here, but what I had is I had a little kid that was taking like a Marks-a-Lot, a permanent ink marker, and he was drawing like gang symbols on the laundry, on the dryer and the washer, in these laundromats that I had. And it was concerning other parents, and they're like, oh God, we got the gangs around here. And I'm like, shit, I don't see any gang members. I'm here every day, checking on my property. There's no gang members here. Well, I finally figured out who the little bastard was. I didn't know. See, I thought it was everybody thought it was gangbangers coming in and whatnot. But I dumpstered out. I jumped into my dumpster and I just started going through all the trash in there and looking at stuff. And sure enough, I found the same gang symbols on an 8-year-old, or maybe it was a 10-year-old's homework. On his homework, next to his name, he wrote these same symbols. And so I narrowed in, and I found his buddies, and they said, oh yeah, he's the one. He writes that crap on everything. And I evicted the family. The mother was in tears and said, the father said, oh, the father, even if he beats him, he won't stop. And I said, well, then he's definitely got to go. Because if you can't make him stop by giving him a spanking, then, I don't know what else is going to curb, an 8-year-old. And not my problem. I'm not his parent, and the kid's costing me thousands because he's scaring the shit out of my tenants and discouraging them, and he's defacing thousands of dollars of equipment. And not only that, I mean, nobody wants to come in and sit around, put their laundry in a laundry room that they think potentially some gangbangers are going to come in and steal your clothing. So anyways, kind of got off track in a big way on that, but that was one of the reasons it made it easy for me to not love the apartments. And don't let me discourage you from that. That's a minor incident, and I did clear it up. And like I said, it was all smoke. Just looked like it looked much worse. The situation looked much worse than it was. So don't let that discourage you for a second from buying an apartment building or investing and holding those things. One of the reasons I love commercial property offices is that, when a person has financial trouble in a home, they just stop paying rent, okay? They don't leave necessarily. Some people do, not all though. But when somebody isn't making money in business, they leave. They can't stay open, because they're not making it. And so they don't stay over there, they don't stay over too long. Once in a while somebody files bankruptcy and they'll have issues like that, but for the most part, they get out, and then you can get it re-rented again. And so that's another good reason for why I like commercial property. You just don't have the tenant problems you have. You're dealing with people that are a little more sophisticated in general because they're business people, and they got enough sense that, if they ain't making money, they get out. And anyways, but back to my main topic is, a lot of people just kind of have expectations for things to happen, even though they really don't do a damn thing to make them better. And those are kind of the lazy asses, and they don't really do any self-examination to figure out why the hell they can't get ahead, or why they can't, and where people that I assume that are even maybe watching this video, you're reaching out. Maybe you already know this stuff and you are successful, but if you're but believe me, there's a ton of lazy asses that are not, that aren't even thinking about looking at self-betterment. They're just kind of waiting for it to fall from the sky, which it's not going to happen. And like I said, so I think what I'll do is just I just have to sum that up by saying, you got to want it, and you got to act like you want it, meaning you got to go through all the motions. I had an old girlfriend, and she would say, if she wasn't particularly happy, she'd actually was in kind of a messed up situation in her home, and she would just pretty much, oh, look here, we got a friend coming over to see me. Where'd he go? Oh, he's down there. And I thought that squirrel was gonna hop on my table. He's coming up behind me now. Anyways, she would just smile. She'd say, you know what, got to get along with my brothers, got to get along with my sisters, and even though they were tough to deal with, and so she would say, I'll just fake it. She said, I'm smiling, and pretty soon, it's infectious, and then they start being nice too. So, anyways, that's a hard one for me to do. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve. I let people know exactly how I feel pretty quick, and I don't know if it's just because I'm too selfish to keep it in or what, but the bottom line is, one thing, like I say, I do want it, and I can only tell you what I do to be successful the way I've become successful, and it has nothing to do with being lazy. It has nothing to do with, hey, get out of there. It has nothing to do with really luck, There's a saying that says, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Well, that's me. The harder I work, the luckier I am. And so that's my secret to success and being lucky. It all comes from because I work so hard. Not everybody wants to hear that, but that's the truth. Just you got to work. You got to work and work and work harder than everybody else. But if you're smart and you're concentrating on where the money is, you know what I mean? Then it's like my one of the ladies that's dying right now that I'm visiting. I just saw her yesterday. Horrible. I mean, she's 90 years old. Can't even talk now. In fact, the only thing she can say is, I got to go to the bathroom. That's the only thing she can really, in this, because that's what she is trying to get across more than anything. But other than that, she can barely communicate. And this was my dad's old girlfriend many, many years ago. But she was a waitress. And she told me, and she actually, this really, really stuck with me. She told me this probably 45 years ago. I was, young kid. And she says, she was talking about being a waitress and how she said what she learned was that whether you waitress, in a high-end resort or in a little, greasy spoon cafe, it's the same job. She said it's the same job, but in the resort, that's where the money is. That's where the big tips are, and just if you're in the service industry, just remember that, because really, you go where the money is. People tip based on the ticket, whatever the ticket is, and I've had service industry people that have ripped me off too. I mean, as an owner of a bar and restaurant, and I'm not, no, I'm at a nice hotel, MJ. I wouldn't. There is a golf course here too, but I'm just actually using the hotel and the facilities in general. It's not a country club that I'm aware of. Anyways, that what Barbara had told me was, really stuck with me, and that is, like I said, it's the same shitty job. It's the same job, shitty job, the way she put it. Same shitty job. It just pays a hell of a lot better at the resort and country club because the tips are better. And so, it's just like, I tell agents, and really, some of you might want to think about becoming an agent, because it keeps you in real estate, and you can make great money. And but what I was getting at is, you can concentrate on, like me, I concentrate on bigger properties. Why? Bigger profits. It's kind of relative. And like what she would do is, she knew that, whatever, if she does, if everybody's tipping 20% and she does, whatever, $200 in tabs that night, she's going to get $40. This is a long time ago. Or she could be in a greasy spoon and do, $80 and get, $16 in tips. But she's doing the same thing. She's waiting on people all day. So, just like I say, get up in the morning, make your list, self-analyze. You'd be surprised what you come up with. And we're not just talking about money. You could be talking about attitude. You could be talking about all kinds of different things. And in the end, if you can, you kind of compete with yourself. If you're not real happy, there's probably a reason for that. You can figure it out. if you don't have much money, then I'm sure there's a good reason for that too. And or hopefully you'll be analyzing, hey, why do I have so much money? Which is kind of what I'm doing. Trying to figure out, why do I have all this money, and why have I done so well? And I'm trying to give that to you, because that's all I can do. I'm the only I can only analyze myself on that one. I can see what some people other do, but I can't live. I haven't lived their life. I've lived my life. So anyhow, I guess maybe this is a good time to cut out. I don't know if anybody's got any questions. If you do, throw them out. And but sun's starting to rise here, and hopefully the rest of my family will wake up in a couple hours. They all sleep longer than I do, and I'm gonna give the boys a break. It was pretty tough on them yesterday to travel. Got up at 2:45 in the morning yesterday. That's early for me. I actually and then I did nothing but drive around LA and went and go visit friends. So I guess that's it. Don't be a lazy ass. Get up early and work hard on yourself, and it'll pay off big. It really will. And that self-analysis is really important. And at the same time, you got to take action eventually. Take action. Whatever you do, always take action. And like I said, the smarter you get in real estate or your job or whatever, and like if you're employed by somebody, and it's kind of the same thing. You got to make yourself worth more. You got to make yourself worth more money, because that's kind of how the game is played. Your employer wants you to make them money, and the more you make them, the more you're worth. So, everybody's got to concentrate on, getting the job done and doing, making it happen. And anyways, I'm gonna let it go there. Flip Anything USA. Thanks for hanging out. It's I think it's Saturday morning, and hope everybody has a great weekend and a great 4th of July. And I'm sure I'll be back on here at some point again. I'm just kind of randomly going in when convenient. Of course, morning's always good because I got a lot of time. Anyhow, that's it for now. Have a good one. Thanks. Oh, be sure to follow my Twitter. So I'm trying to get some announcements out on that. And like I said, I got this new app coming, and I'm anxious to share that with you too. Thanks.